Hey everybody, I'm Justin with AmericanTrucks.com, and today I'm taking a closer look at and installing Rough Country's power running boards available for all 2019 and newer Silverado 1500s. Now you guys should be checking out the Rough Country options if you'd like to go with one of the most affordable power steps in the category to automatically deploy whenever the door is opened and then automatically retract whenever that door is closed. And that's going to make for a very clean look with a ton of convenience thanks to the much easier entry and exit. Now the Rough Country steps will support a 660-pound weight capacity per side and will be backed by their limited lifetime warranty, all for right around the $1,100 to $1,200 price point. All right guys, starting off with our list of features here with the Rough Country options, and the biggest feature with this and pretty much any power running board you'll encounter here on the site is the fact that they are powered. And what do I mean by that? Well, when installed correctly, these are going to automatically deploy anytime your door is open and then automatically retract back underneath the body every time the door is closed. Now, not only do they deploy automatically, but typically a power running board such as this, well, they're going to deploy much lower than your traditional running board or even a drop step, which is just going to make getting into and out of your stock or lifted truck much easier. Now, on top of that, the Rough Country options will also include some LED lighting to help illuminate the steps at night, and they also boast some safety features here that will prevent the boards from closing if they detect any blockages, which is great for those of you out there with little ones, pets, and so forth. Now, aside from the functional benefits or features of the power boards, one of my favorite aspects is the appearance benefits that these boards provide when they tuck up and against that lower rocker, making for a very, very clean appearance. Now, full disclosure guys, I actually have these exact same steps installed on my 6-inch lifted F-150, and I absolutely love them. The wife and daughter love them as it's making it easier for them to get into that monster truck, but at the same time, again, very clean look when they're retracted, and it's probably one of the best features I enjoy most about these power boards. Now, stepping away from features, let's talk more about construction, and you're going to be looking at a very solid build quality here despite the more budget-friendly price point when compared to some of the competition. We'll talk more about that here in a bit. Now, the Rough Country options are going to utilize a 6-inch wide aluminum textured board, and that is going to offer plenty of footing and plenty of grip from tip to tip here. Now, each side does receive 2 motors, which will help the boards deploy and retract quickly, and also no matter what the climate is like. These things will operate in hot and cold temperatures, snow, slush, ice, doesn't matter. Those 2 motors really do help these things power through. Now, each board can handle up to 660 pounds per side, which is one of the highest capacities currently in the category. Now, the Rough Country option also does come with an interior bypass switch, so if you ever need to prevent the steps from deploying for whatever reason, just simply flick that switch and they'll stay up and retracted. Now, finally guys, the power boards from Rough Country are backed by Rough Country's limited lifetime warranty, just in case you run into any issues. Now, getting into pricing a bit more here guys, and again, if you wanted to get into a set of power deploying steps or power boards for your truck at home, the Rough Countries are currently one of the most affordable ways to do so, coming in around that $1,100 to $1,200 ballpark figure. Now, you're not going to find too many more options that are going to be more budget friendly or more affordable than these at the end of the day. So once you start comparing these to options from Amp Research, for instance, or even RBP, those stealth boards, both very nice options, but both are going to cost you a few $100 more at least in comparison to the Rough Country option. So again, you're getting a very solid build here, very solid warranty, all at a very budget friendly price point. All right guys, last but not least, let's touch on the installation, and you'll find that the Rough Country options are going to feature a bolt-on design basically to the stock running board location, meaning there's no need for any drilling or permanent modification. Now, however, there is a little bit of wiring needed here guys to get these lights mounted, so just keep that in mind. The site's going to call this a middle of the road 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter. Taking you 5 hours, I would say, at absolute most to complete from start to finish. More than likely, it'll take you a little less than that. But regardless, to give you a better idea of how this one might go down in the garage or driveway at home, let's throw it out to the shop for our detailed walkthrough and tool breakdown.
For this install, you will need a drill, impact, a ratchet, 10 and 13 millimeter sockets, a 5 millimeter Allen socket, a pair of angle cutters, a 7/16 drill bit, and the provided zip ties. What's up guys? Today we're going to be doing some power side steps on our Silverado, so let's get started. Alrighty guys, so the first thing we're gonna need to do is get underneath the body of our truck, right behind our pinch welds, and install our motor and brackets. Now these are labeled for front and rear and also left and right. The orientation of that is if you're sitting in the driver's seat. So the left side is going to be the driver's side, right side is going to be the passenger side. So we've got our front and rear right motors, and we're going to go ahead and get those mounted up with our provided 10mm bolts. So let's get under there and get these on. Alrighty guys, so we're now underneath the truck, right behind our pinch weld here on our body. And you're going to notice these threaded inserts along the body of the vehicle. And we're up here at the front to install our front motor, and we're going to go to the forwardmost set of these threaded inserts. So we'll grab our motor and bracket assembly. Get that up into position here. This is a bit of a tight squeeze up in here, but we're gonna go ahead and grab our 10mm bolt out of our kit. Go ahead and line that up first, and we'll get this top one started. It's gonna help hold our motor bracket in place. Get that in there, a good amount of threads. Then we can grab our next 10mm bolt. Go ahead and line that up with our bottom threaded insert. We'll get that one started. And then once we have these started, we can go ahead and grab our 10mm socket on our ratchet and tighten these down. We're going to start with our bottom one here, kind of center it. Now that we have our bottom one tight, we'll go ahead and tighten down our upper one. Now that we have this one tight, we'll go ahead and go to the rear and install our other motor bracket. Now we can go ahead and get our rear motor bracket on. Now, when you come to the rear of the body of your vehicle, you're gonna have two sets of threaded inserts right next to each other. We wanna go to the one that is more forward towards the front of the truck. So, we've got our motor bracket. Go ahead and get that lined up. Get our 10mm bolt again. Get this one started. Get our bottom one in. And once we have both bolts started, again, we'll go ahead and grab our 10mm socket on our ratchet and tighten these down. Alright guys, so while we're under here, we're gonna go ahead and mount our main connector module for our harness. And that's gonna go right here at the second set of threaded inserts on our passenger side, back from the forward motor mount that we already installed. So, I'm gonna go ahead and get this in position. Grab two more of our provided mounting bolts. Go ahead and get these started. Get that one, we'll get our upper one. And once again, grab our 10mm socket on our ratchet and tighten these down. Now once you have all this installed, you can go ahead and do the same thing for the other side, minus the module, because it's only going to be on the passenger side. Alrighty guys, so now we're up here in the engine bay. We're going to begin doing our wiring. There is a harness to install with this, so we're going to start at the passenger side with our battery here. So we're going to go ahead and remove the battery cover. It just has these two tabs here. You push in, you can pull this right up and set it aside. Now once we have that off, we've got our connectors here for our battery. Now the one thing you want to do is pull the fuses out of your harness before we start. That's going to keep the system disabled before we are ready to fully power it up. So we'll go ahead and pop these fuses. These are pretty tight in here out of the box, so you're going to need to yank them a little bit. We'll go ahead and set them aside. Then for our positive cable here, we're going to go ahead and pick one of our studs. We're just going to go with this one here. Alrighty guys, so we're going to grab our 13mm socket on our impact and go ahead and run this nut off. Next, we're going to go ahead and grab our positive terminal here, lay that into position on our stud. And then we'll go ahead and reinstall our nut and snug that back down. You don't need to go crazy with tightening these, just make sure they're nice and secure. Now for our negative terminal, we're gonna go ahead to the negative post of our battery here and remove this 10mm nut with our 10mm socket on our impact. Go ahead and pop that off. Grab our negative terminal. Go ahead and swing our harness over. Install our negative terminal. Then reinstall our 10mm nut. Then we'll go ahead and tighten that back down. Now once we have these installed, we'll go ahead and make sure our harness is out of the way and reinstall our battery cover. So we'll go ahead, line that up in position. Now it is going to be a bit more snug with that extra wire, especially the positive one hanging out. Just make sure it doesn't get pinched or creased or anything like that. And we'll go ahead and snap that back into place, but you want to make sure you still have access to your fuse holder right there. Now our next step is to grab the main cluster of connectors of our harness here, and we're going to run that right down behind the battery. It's kind of hard to see from here, but if you're looking straight down behind it, you can see the ground. It's right next to your fender liner, and that's where we want it to go because we want this to run along our frame away from the exhaust, drive shaft, anything that's going to be spinning or hot. We do not want to damage our harness or our vehicle in the process of installing this. So we'll go ahead and grab this cluster here and make sure everything's pretty straight. You can kind of let this one lag behind. We're just going to feed that down. You can hear it kind of land on the fender liner. That's going to get to a certain point where it doesn't really want to kind of freely drop down. That's okay. Just going to kind of get as much of this down there as possible. Once you have a good bit down, we'll go ahead down to the fender liner itself and kind of pull it through and show you how it's supposed to go. Alrighty guys, so now we're down in our wheel well here, and as you can see, our harness has already started to poke through behind our fender liner. You don't need to remove this, but turning your wheel will help for this. So we'll go ahead and begin pulling our harness down. We want the whole thing to come through. May need to assist it along the way here. But don't yank too hard. If something gets caught, go up top and see where it's caught and try to free it up before you just yank it down. Now you'll know when your entire harness is through because the one going up to your battery is going to be the only one hanging. Everything else is going to be on the ground. Alrighty guys, so now that we have our harness through our wheel well and down to the bottom of our vehicle, we're just going to make sure everything's kind of in order. So we've got our main connector harness here. It's going to go in that main bracket for the module that we already installed. And we can kind of lay that out. Now that is also going to be coupled with our front right and rear right motor connectors, as well as our LED lighting that we'll be adding. These other two connectors, the red and blue ones here, are going to be for our driver's side. So we'll just make sure they're kind of laid out because they're going to cross the vehicle and go to the other side. Now, these exposed wires here are brown, 2 black, and our white wire with our switch connector are going to go up into the cab. So we're going to go ahead and take care of these first. So what we're going to do is open up our door. We're going to have to remove some interior trim panels, and we'll show you how to get up into the cab and then run everything as we need to. So now we're ready to remove some of our paneling here on our passenger side to pass through our passenger signal wire for our doors to open and close, and that's going to raise and lower our boards, as well as our switch wire that's going to go to our driver's side. Now what we're going to do first, you can go ahead and remove your floor mat if you have one. Then we're going to remove our kick panel here. And you should be able to just reach under this, kind of just pop it out like so. And this panel is going to come up with it and unhook. And we can kind of pull this panel to the side. Now you can fully remove this if you want, but pulling it to the side will be sufficient. Then we're going to fully remove our lower panel here for our seat. Set that aside. Then eventually we're going to have to loosen up and kind of pull back our seat pillar panel here, but we're going to go ahead and keep this for now. Then what you're going to do is pull your carpet up. You're going to locate these grommets underneath your floor. Then you're gonna go for the one that's more forward here. So we're gonna go ahead and fully remove this panel just to show you a little bit easier. It just pops right out, you just pull it out. And we've got our carpet lifted up. And we're gonna look for, you see we have 3 grommets underneath here. We're gonna look at this one here. Now, if you're doing this at home, you can just drill a hole through this grommet and pass your wires through. For demonstration purposes, we're just gonna go ahead and remove this grommet. Now, we've got a pair of angle cutters here because these are held in with a silicone glue type thing. So we're gonna go ahead and get this out. Now, the angle cutters are gonna help cut into that silicone. But again, if you're doing this at home, you can drill through this. Just make sure you seal it up with some sort of silicone after you have your wires pulled through. You don't want any water coming up in or leaking out. All right, so now we'll go ahead and pop our grommet out. Again, you can see all that silicone here. Definitely want to drill the hole if you're doing this at home. And then we can go underneath the truck and start feeding our wires up through. Alrighty guys, so now we're back under the truck and we've got our brown wire here as well as our on-off switch wire. We're gonna pass those up through that grommet. Now it's kind of hard to see from here, but that grommet, the pass-through area is gonna be located right above this main harness and your frame, right behind your front body mount. So we'll go ahead and get this up in there. Now we do have a hand reached up in the cab as well. You can reach under your carpet and kind of grab these wires as they come through. You can see we dropped our brown wire. We'll go ahead and pull this through just like so. Do the same thing with our brown wire. We're gonna go ahead and pull this pretty much until our sheathing meets up with our pass through here. Now your white wire is gonna stay down now because that's gonna pass under the vehicle. It's much easier to do it this way. So we'll keep that underneath. And now we can go ahead up into the cab and kind of get our sensors mounted and our wires ran. So now we're gonna continue removing panels so that we can get our sensors in place for our doors. So the first thing we're gonna do is come here to our rear seats. I'm gonna go ahead and remove our rear floor liner here. So now that we have our floor liner out, we can remove this kick panel. Go ahead, pop that off. Then we're gonna come back here to our C-pillar panel and pop that off as well. So we don't need to fully remove this panel, we're just gonna pop it back. So we've got it released from the bottom here. We're gonna work our way up and pull out. And you kind of want to push from the back side here. So we don't need to fully remove this panel, we need to just pull it out far enough to access the back side of it. There is a retainer clip on both sides, about a quarter of the way up it, or a third rather. So we've reached behind here. We're gonna go ahead and pop that clip out. Just make sure we have room to where we can access that. And we'll do the same thing on the other side, then we'll be able to pass our wiring through. Now you wanna make sure your front seat is all the way up and forward. When doing this, it's gonna give you the most room. You may even need to pull your weather stripping off a little bit. Might help things be a little bit easier. You just kind of pop it out of the seam. So now that we have that popped, we have access to the back side of our panel. So now we're up here behind our front seat and we're gonna pull this panel back. Now we need to ground out our sensor harness here. So we've got our 2 sensors that are gonna go onto the body side of our doors. And we've got our ground connector here. It's an open spade connector. And what we're gonna do is pull this panel back. There's a ground nut right here. We're gonna grab a 10mm wrench. We're gonna loosen that nut enough to get that connector on. You don't need to fully remove this nut, you just need to loosen it. Once you get it loose enough, loosen it a little bit more by hand. Then we'll be able to take our ground connector here, slide that onto that post. Now once we get that ground connector onto our stud, we can go ahead and tighten that right back down. Make sure that's nice and secure. Okay, now we're gonna grab our brown wire here, and that's gonna go into the female bullet connector on our sensor harness. Plug that in. Then this shorter side that has the brown wire, we can keep that to the front. The other side, we're gonna pass through behind that panel to our rear door. Now that we have that through, we can go ahead and begin mounting our sensors. Now this is where our weather stripping is going to need to come out. So if you haven't already done so, go ahead and pull that off of the seam here. Now be careful because some of these spot welds behind here do have little metal burrs on them on a lot of these trucks, and you don't want to cut your hand or anything. So now we're going to peel the cover off our adhesive backing for our sensor. And we're going to run that right below our door latch here. And we also have this sheath. Peel the cover off that adhesive backing. We're going to have that run right down along. Now you don't want your connector to sit on the seam here. You want it to tuck behind your panels. Get everything tucked. Like so. And we'll reinstall our weather stripping. So now we can go ahead and install our rear door sensor. So now we're at our rear door, and again, we're going to remove a bit of our weather stripping. Pull that off the seam. For our rear one, we're going to run it up right along here, about halfway up the door. Peel our cover. So now that we have this in place, we can reinstall our weather stripping. Now that we have both of our sensors in place, we can reattach our panel. Just line this back up with the clips. Make sure your weather stripping is on the outside of your panel. So now we're ready to install our magnet activator for our switch. So we'll peel our cover off of our adhesive backing. Now you want to line it up on your door, right parallel to your sensor on your body side. We're going to come over here, about midway into the door. Go ahead and stick that on. You want to check your alignment. Now this may take a few tries to get it right. We'll be able to test it out once we get our system powered up here. But you can get it pretty close with your eyeball. That looks pretty good. We'll leave that there for now. Now the process is going to be the same for the rear door. You want to line it up on your door where it's going to close and activate that sensor. So our next step is going to be to grab our on-off switch connector, and we're going to run that across to our driver's side. So go ahead and pull our carpet back a bit. We'll get our wiring behind our carpet. Run that over. You can pull this little panel back under your center console here. Tuck it under that. And we're going to keep our wiring tucked along this panel here. You want to make sure this does not interfere with your accelerator pedal or anything like that. We're going to mount this right here under our steering column for ease of install. Now you do have the freedom to kind of put this wherever you want. If you want it up under here, out of the way and out of sight, you can do that. We're just going to put it right here because it's easy and convenient. So now we have our on-off switch here, and what we're going to do first is plug this in. I'm going to go ahead and tuck this up into our dash here, plug that in. Now this switch has an adhesive backing as well, so you can kind of mount it wherever you want to. If you want to hide it somewhere or make it more seamless, you can do that. For demonstration purposes, we're going to install ours right under our parking brake button, just to have easy access. And you can tuck yours and kind of do it however you want it to look, make it your own. But again, you just want to make sure this does not interfere with your brake or accelerator pedal, or even your steering column that goes through your firewall. And we're going to make sure this is in the off position for now, because we want to keep it off even when we power up the system. Now that we have everything ran on this side, we'll begin putting our panels back. So we'll start with our rear kick panel. Make sure your C-pillar panel is locked back into place. Reinstall our floor mat. And we'll reinstall our front panels as well. So we can put our front panels back in as well. We'll get this one lined up. There are 2 clips here in the front. We'll reinstall our lower seat trim as well. This one just lines up with these vertical locators and these 2 retainer tabs that go on essentially our seat rail. Lock that into place. Then we can reinstall our floor mat. Now you are going to have to repeat this same process for the other side. Once you get the harness ran over, we'll show you how that goes. The process for installing your sensors and everything else will be the exact same for your driver's side. So now we're back under the truck, and we're going to start by plugging in all of our connectors to our main module here. So we have a larger connector, a smaller one, and then 2 little bullet connectors that we're going to plug in. We'll make sure they all fully seat, get locked in. Now we have a black bullet connector and a red one. You want to match those up with your module side. They're going to line up with a dowel on each connector. And I know it's kind of tough to see from this angle, but there's really only one way these can go in. Now that we have those connected, we can plug in our front and rear motors on our passenger side. So we've got our corresponding front right connector, and we're at our front right motor. So we've got our motor side connector. Line that up, get that plugged in, make sure that seats. Then we're going to do our rear right connector, and we'll send the rest of our harness over to the driver's side. And we're going to repeat this exact same process over there. So now we've got our rear right connector, which is going to be the green label. And just as with the front one, go ahead and get that plugged in. It is a little bit tough under here, not too much room to work with. And once you got that one secure, now we can go ahead and pass the driver's side of our harness over to the driver's side of the vehicle, and then you'll be able to install your wiring and everything on that side. All right, you guys, so now it's time to pass the driver's side of the harness over. Now GM was kind enough to give us this cross member here that's running across our frame, and it's a perfect spot to secure your harness to. I do recommend going on the underside of it because your exhaust does sit pretty close to the top side of it, so you don't want to melt anything on your harness. So we've got our provided zip ties here, and your entire remainder of your harness along with that white signal wire for your door sensors is going to go through here. So we've got a few zip ties here, and we're going to get them snug, but we're not going to go crazy with tightening them because we do want to be able to adjust this on the driver's side once we get it over. So we'll get a couple secured here. You can always add more if you'd like to. Again, routing this is kind of make it your own, do it how you want it. Everybody's pretty particular about that. But we'll go ahead and secure this up out of the way. We just want to make sure it's not going to hang down and catch on anything, and this is a pretty secure spot. So now that we have the bulk of it secured, we can go ahead and grab some angle cutters and clip off the excess of our zip ties. Now once you have this through, you can go ahead and repeat the same process we just did on our passenger side for all of our wiring and connectors on the driver's side, minus the module because there is only one, and that is on the passenger side. So now we can install our LED lighting that's going to go on our underside by our pinch welds. It's going to illuminate our running boards themselves. So again, just as with those other bullet connectors, these have little dowels to kind of prevent any wrong way of installing. Go ahead and clip those into place. These are held on by an adhesive backing as well, so we'll pull the cover off that, like so. Then you can either mount these straight to the pinch welds, or you can kind of go on the underside and fold them up. We're going to go ahead on our underside here and stick those on. Then we'll do the same thing for our rear motor bracket. We'll go ahead and plug in our rear light. Get that one mounted as well. Now once we have everything mounted and plugged in, we're going to go ahead and secure any excess wiring we have up and out of the way so it doesn't drag and cause any damage. We'll start back here and pull any excess wiring we have. A good place to secure this is up on this factory main harness. As you can see, it runs along our frame as well. So we're going to take some more of those provided zip ties. We're going to pull as much excess to the back as possible. That's going to help alleviate a bundle up front. Once you've got that secure, again, take your angle cutters and go ahead and clip off your excess. And we can do the same thing for the front of our harness area. Now we've got another zip tie up here. Again, you can feel free to tuck this however you'd like. And this is kind of the personalization of it. This is just meant to get it up out of the way. And once we have it tucked in, we can kind of use our module bracket realistically to kind of help hold it up out of the way. Alrighty guys, so now it's time to install our steps. So they have these sliding nuts here that's a double nut that we're going to line up with each of our motor brackets. Then we're going to grab our provided 5mm Allen head bolts and go ahead and get those in and get these tightened down. So we've got our board centered where we want it. We'll line our mounting nuts up. We'll flip this over. Then we'll set this on and get these bolts started. We'll get it close. We may have to adjust it. That's kind of where we want it to sit. So we'll get our rear two started. Now once we have these loosely in place, we'll grab our 5mm Allen socket on our impact and go ahead and tighten these down. So now once you have this one on, you can go ahead and repeat this same process for the other side. Then we'll go back up to the engine bay and install our fuses and make sure our system works. So now we can go ahead and install our fuses. So we'll start with our positive one here. Make sure that gets fully seated, cover it back up. We can put our negative one back in. Go ahead and cover that one up. We'll be good to go. Now your last step, once you have everything hooked up and plugged back in, we'll go ahead and turn our switch to the on position. Now if you have your doors open, like we do here, they should come out because it should have retracted to the closed position once you put your fuses in. So if you turn it off, they will automatically retract. On, doors are open, they'll come out. And once you close your doors, they'll go back to the off position. Alrighty guys, that about wraps up our review and install of our Rough Country power running boards for your 19 to current Silverado 1500 crew cab. Thanks for watching, and as always, for everything Silverado, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.